Good evening, friends. This side Rahul Magan here as the Group Chief Executive Officer, Treasury Consulting. So today is 8th February 2020. Practically second day, a day before a very special, because we are shooting the second video about India stories, and we got this much amount of data. Many people ask me that, why do you shoot videos in the night? I always reply that once you get time, you shoot the video. It's around 2:30 in the morning, and this video will definitely take at least 1 hour. And a lot of people, sometimes come to me and they say that why don't you shoot video about interest, IRR, XIRR, which will help a lot more people. So we have no offense to these people, but we would like to clarify one thing upfrontly, and which we clarified number of times, is that we shoot video on the topic which media do not talk, and the topic which are very special in banking. We never shoot videos about the topics which are very simplest in nature. This work we allocated to Khan Academy, because Khan Academy is a business channel who shoot videos about everything, even those topics which are not relevant. We shoot video about data. Like, to shoot this data, I need to collect this much amount of to shoot this video, I need to collect this much amount of data. So we always claim that the data is never ours, but the analytics, the logic which we are telling, this is ours. The data is definitely not ours. To collate this data, I need to read this data again and again, and so that no wrong inference can be made out of it. Still, we try very hard, no wrong inference, but there is always a probability of a mistake, so we apologize that. So this we're going to cover today, and this is like we told to everybody that Treasury Consulting launched a series which is India Stories. The part 1 is already on the YouTube, part 2 is here, and eventually every month we will produce only one part. So by the time December 2020 will come, we will have 12 parts. So this is second part. So once in a month means, like, this is everything about January. So whatever happened in January is there. Now whatever happened in February, we would be shooting in March. So every month we would be shooting only one video. So let's talk about a Ponzi scheme which is running in the market, and now media also playing a very important role. I used to believe that foreign media is a good media. But now I started believing that foreign media is also playing its active role where they should be. Like yesterday, Uber announces its Q4 results, and in fact the whole 2019 results, which in American parlance known as 10K. I don't know, but you watch this result or do not watch this result, but Uber ended up 2019 with a loss of $8.5 billion. I'm pretty surprised to know that a company is losing not less than over $1 billion every quarter, and in a whole year you end up almost $8.5 billion of loss. Still, share prices increased from 37 to 41. So initially also they listed at 41. Bloomberg presented this in such a way, and the CEO of the Uber put a lollipop in the public domain, and what lollipop he said that Uber is looking for quarter profitability by December 2020. So first of all, December 2020 is is at least 12 months away, at least 11 months away. Secondly, how can we forget that this is the same Uber who is looking to have a joint venture with Renault, and they wanted to give electric vehicles to the drivers in London, because their license is already stripped in London, and they wanted to give electric vehicles to drivers in London, and who will bear that cost? Is that Uber who will bear that cost? And by the way, if I'm not mistaken, Ola already started its service in London, which is good for me, because now we are starting a British entity. Once we go, we can avail Ola also at a concessional prices. So if Uber or Ola coming in the public domain and saying that they would be EBITDA profitable, or they would be PAT, which is bottom line profitable, even in next 10 years, this is the biggest mistake of media, because they will not even get profitable in the next 20 years, because continuous capex is mandatory in that. Like, the whole fleet of Uber is now going to get changed to the electric vehicles. Probably in another 2 to 3 years, because electric vehicles is a norm of the day. Whole fleet which Uber operates needs to be converted into electric vehicle. Whole fleet, the Uber and Ola worldwide, it's going to be converted, and this conversion requires a humongous cost. This is not a 1 million, 2 million line item. This is several $billion line item. And since it is a several $billion line items, a huge funding is required. We have already saw that Uber and WeWork failed drastically in their IPO. Peloton and diners and almost everybody failed in that. In fact, I got a news that there are issues that are coming in the public domain about the viability of the Paytm probably another year or so. The reason is that the WhatsApp clearly made it public that they are in touch with Reserve Bank of India, the regulator of India, and regarding the payment service they wanted to launch. I think according to an estimate, they hold over 400 million plus customers, active users on their app, and around a billion plus customers worldwide. So India is definitely a big market for Paytm. And if Paytm comes to WhatsApp, if the WhatsApp will come to the payment service, then it is an end of show for Paytm. But I'm sure the firm, those who made the valuation report of the Paytm and said that by 2021 it is going to be profitable, they will get another money and they will make another valuation report. Because regulator is paid, regulator is not worried. Example, WeWork, lot of mess happened at WeWork. But Indian regulator and Singaporean regulator together not took any action against WeWork. And WeWork is having substantial positions in India as well as Singapore. I have not saw RBI, not saw the Monetary Authority of Singapore or any other regulator in Singapore to take an action against WeWork. An IPO of several $1 billion collapsed, CEO exited, thousands, around 2,000 plus workforce asked to step down, huge cost cutting, and regulator is silent. But Monetary Authority of Singapore will definitely come and take action against a small individual if you do mistake. But when it comes to big corporate, they are always silent. And I have a lot of examples. The Highflex is one example. 1MDB scandal is another example. Now you have WeWork. In all the cases, I was expecting a very stern action from Monetary Authority of Singapore, but they not did that. So they confirm my belief that they only acted against the weak people. When it comes to big conglomerate, they never act that. The same is the case with Reserve Bank of India. In this we got two news, and let me share two news. One is the Dunzo. Dunzo is a hyper local delivery startup, and you would be very happy to know that in 2019 they got a loss of 169 crores. So Dunzo got a loss of 169 crores in 2019, which is approximately 8 times, because the last year loss 17-18 is approximately 22 crores. So in 17-18 they got a loss of 22 crores, and in 19 they got a loss of 169 crores, around 8 times. And irrespective of that, the increase of losses by 8 times, and you would be surprised to know that the operational income against this 168 crore loss is roughly 77 lakhs. So against a loss of 169 crores, the operational income of the company is just 77 lakhs. Rest 2.8 crores is generated from fixed deposit, which is other income. So even if I add that, which practically turns out to be 3.5 crores, to generate 3.5 crore of income, you lost 169 crores. This is business. And I am surprised to see that why no regulator come in the public domain and take an action when you get to know, is that is not a fraud? Tell me, is that is not a fraud? Don't you term this as a fraud? Can I ask one question, please? Dunzo fair valuation was pegged around 400 crores in September, which is September 2019, by auditors according to ROC filing. ROC stands for Registrar of Companies. In India, we have Registrar of Companies, which is Ministry of Corporate Affairs. A company who merely earns 3.5 crores, and out of 3.5 crores, the operational income is 75 lakhs, and other rest 2.8 crore is a non-operational income, which is also known as other income in accounting parlance. And even if I add that, total 3.5 crores, the loss is 170 crores. Even after that, the auditors come in public domain and said that to ROC, which is Registrar of Companies, Ministry of Corporate Affairs, that the fair valuation of that company is 400 crores. Can it be possible? Even a BCom level person, even a person who is a failure, whose IQ is 0 out of 10, he cannot agree with this. But Institute of Chartered Accountant of India, Ministry of Corporate Affairs, Security and Exchange Board of India, and Reserve Bank of India, the most obsolete body we have in the globe, four together not said anything to this company. Isn't that a Ponzi scheme which is happening? This is the height of Ponzi, that 3.5 crore company with a total loss of 169 crores, which is approximately how many times? They are pegged at 400 crore valuation. It means in that sense, Treasury Consulting is valuation more than $1 billion because we are a profitable company. But the jokes do not end here. Rather, the jokes starts from here. ShareChat. So I hope you remember 2 years ago, there was a lot of talk about ShareChat. ShareChat, now let me read this. The startup current valuation is 600 to 650 million. So 600 means around 4,200 crores, which is roughly 10 times of that. More than 10, roughly 11 times. The startup current valuation is 600 to 650 million and reported a loss of 414 crores, which is 12 times the loss of 12 times versus last year loss, which was around 33.8 crores. So in 2018, you reported a loss of around in 2017, you reported a loss, 17-18 reported a loss of 33.8 crores, on a flat note 34 crores. And now you reported a loss of around 414 crores, which is around 12 times. And irrespective of that fact that your loss is going around 12 times, you are considered as a 600 million valuation company. And more importantly, see this, you will feel like a joke that ShareChat revenue rose 15 times. You would be happy that revenue rose 15 times. It means on a revenue of 25.8 crores. So this year they got a revenue of 25.8 crores, and on this 25.8 crores revenue they got a loss of 400 crores. Not 400, 414 crores. And last year they got a revenue of 1.7 crore, and on 1.7 crore they got a loss of 3.3 crores. And the surprise fact is that even the venture capitalists like TrustBridge, Lightspeed, Safe and other, they are going till Series D and they're valuing this startup as $600 and $650 million. This is height of Ponzi, man. Regulators should come forward and take an action. We are promoting the Ponzi scheme. Even a BCom graduate can say that. And if you look at this cutting, the CEO of this company pretending like that he is like a Steve Jobs who made iPhone, iMac and a lot of stuff. This is the world in which we are actually living. Third comes the hike. Shri Sunil Bharti Mittal son. So, there is a joke that Sunil Bharti is one day, Sunil Bharti Mittal son come to him and said that I wanted to do the business. Similar like Rishabh Premji come to Wipro and said that I wanted to do the business. And Rishabh and Premji or Jimji said, okay, I make you as a vice president in Wipro, do struggle. So, vice president in Wipro and do struggle. You know that what is happening with Wipro. Wipro is now out of top 20 companies in India in terms of market cap. Wipro is falling. In fact, the CEO of Wipro who joined very recently, he also quitted. So in the last around 2.5 years, more than 2 CEOs of an IT company quitted. And if I tell you about politics in Wipro, then it's a height of politics. Wipro is falling on year note from last several years. Anyways, so Hike Messenger reported 33% decrease in revenue in 2018-19. Good job. And Hike generated a revenue of 26.5 crores compared to around 40 crores last year. So last year they generated around 40 crores and this time they generated 26.5 crores. And guys, you would be surprised to know that once I tell you about Hike, Hike is seriously hiker than Dunzo and ShareChat. In case of Dunzo, they got 75 lakhs as an operational earning. In case of ShareChat, this operational earning component is not given. In case of Hike, out of 26.5 crores, only 3.5 lakhs coming from operations. See this, I am not saying that. In fiscal year 19, Hike generated a revenue of 26.5 crore compared to around 39.5 crore reported in fiscal year 2018. It only made around 3.5 lakhs in revenue directly from operations, while the remaining 26.5 crores come from other income categories. The problem do not solve here. To make 26.5 crore in revenue, Hike spent 232 crores, which is approximately 9 point some times. And that end up a loss of approximately 462 crores. This is your Hike. Sunil Bharti Mittal. Airtel. So father company is in loss and the son company is in also loss. Father and son are competing with each other that who is doing better. Maybe they on a dinner table every night they are competing who is doing better. And we are here talking about a messenger market which is full of messengers. If you open your Apple, I don't know you're using Apple or Android, but if you use Apple Play Store, you have around thousands of messenger right now. ShareChat, Snapchat, WhatsApp and whatnot. And in this highly competitive messenger market, this company is losing and I'm damn sure they are another unicorn. So this clearly suggests that the startup business worldwide, specifically in India, of course worldwide too, is in deep losses. Until what extent this Ponzi is going on, I don't know. Like today I got another news, which is this. So food startups raised $512 million in 20 deals in 2019. Double the amount in 2018. I am happy. But can anyone tell me that Swiggy is in big losses? Zomato is in big losses, Deliveroo is in big losses, and how can I forget Uber Eats, our beloved Uber Eats. Two things which I not saw on Bloomberg TV is one, when Indian court ordered Enforcement Directorate to attach the properties of JP Morgan Chase India and Bloomberg not discuss that. That really shake my trust. Secondly, in this case, when Uber Eats sold, I was expecting a very good discussion in the market about the Uber business model, but that was not get discussed. So media is also playing its role. We are talking about a food market which is in deep messes. Can we forget Deliveroo? Deliveroo UK-based startup do not have money thanks to Jeff Bezos who came and lended him $500 million. Else it would be a mess off to Deliveroo. Urban Ladder co-founder quitted. Nestaway co-founder quitted, and the list is very long. To cut the long discussion short, we strongly feel that the startup sector in India is heading towards a big crisis. Losses would continue. I don't expect Paytm, Ola, Uber, Swiggy, Zomato, Lenskart and all these so-called unicorns will thrive. Companies like Byju's will collapse soon because there are many startups coming, those who are offering almost similar kind of product at a very affordable price. And they do not hire Shah Rukh Khan and all as a brand endorser. So they save a hell lot of cost. We do expect that Byju's would definitely be losing soon because these startups are offering quality content at a cheap cost. This would definitely create a competition for Byju's. Having said that, the valuation of $14 billion of the Paytm is a big myth, and sooner or later this myth will definitely collapse. So when it comes to the startup sector, as usual, my rating is clear that it's a big mess off, it's a big Ponzi scheme. So get out. Let's talk about a reverse phenomena which is happening in India, and I know that people definitely not read it about. Nowadays, every company in India is raising money. In fact, I started doubting those who do not need money, they are also raising money. When in the morning I read newspaper, I get to know that this company taking QIP, qualified institutional placement. Now DMart is taking QIP, they got one level higher, they started taking OFS, offer for sale. Adani's take QIPs, Mr. Ambani taking $2 billion plus dollar, everyone is taking money worldwide. In India, in terms of dollar bond. In fact, NTPC, National Thermal Power Corporation, raised around 750 million equivalent yen in the form of funding. Everybody take funding. And our media is making this a hype, but we do not know that after 5 years when this funding matures, then the situation would be a deep mess. And maybe these companies eventually at that point of time will definitely not be in a position to even repay that money. Because see what's happening. You have Lodha Group, you have Choparji and all other DLF and all. They don't have money to pay their debt. They are just taking the debt from somebody, paying the existing and keeping the debt intact. This is what it is going on in India. But this data is very, very different. And this data reveals something which, in fact, I have never expected. We generally talk about inbound investments. Inbound means, like I also raised a lot of times, that the private equity players are taking strategic position in India. They are. Blackstone, BlackRock, and everybody is taking position. But we do not know that Indian company is also taking M&A position outside. And data is saying something different. In 2014, roughly $2 billion worth is invested by Indian companies taking other companies outside, around 107 deals. In 2015, it is double, 4.3 billion, around 117 deals. Good show. 2016, it went again well. It's around 5.3 and 130 deals. Good show. 2017, it drastically came down and it reduced to 2.2 billion and around 125 deals. 2018 is the highest when around $11.25 billion spent by Indian companies outside India, and they total 135 number of deals. And 2019, surprise, as against 11 billion, only 2 billion is spent on outside M&A, only 2 billion. It means that if we see, then overall the range Indian is spending somewhere between 2 billion to 5 billion every year. 2018 is an exception. And guys, do you know, last year itself Indian companies took around 23 billion dollar worth of dollar bonds in India. I don't have the data now, I am collating the data, but I am damn sure that till February more than 22 billion has been raised outside India. And by the time the whole year ends, the figures will come by December. Maybe 2018 figure was 2019 figure was around 22 billion, and 2020 might be 44 or it could be 60. So this clearly suggests that Indian appetite for outbound M&A is nothing, because they don't have money. As simple as that. Now this is another case which is happening. Third case, a very tragic case. Many people know that I started my career with HCL, Hindustan Computers Limited, Shiv Nadar's group. Then I go to EXL, and then I started my own company. From the very first day of HCL, I am having a very deep respect to a company who founded in 1994, which is Cognizant. And Mr. D'Souza used to be the CEO. It is said that he is a long-serving CEO of the company, any IT company. And by the time Mr. D'Souza was there as a head of Cognizant, Cognizant grew like this. In fact, Cognizant was the only company in India who taught another IT company how to take long-term positions. And when I was in EXL, in fact, today we used to download the 10K of Cognizant and used to just see that in which currencies they are taking the positions, how long they are taking the positions, and so on and so forth. So I am always very happy. But unfortunately, Cognizant is now striving for struggle. They are actually struggling to strive. And now the founder stepped down from the board. I see that Cognizant days are very, very limited. Unfortunately, in this quarter, Cognizant reported $395 million of net profit against the last year of 648, around 39% decrease. Revenue increases by 4.2%, but that too constant currency. It's not a volatile currency. For the full year, net profit declined by 1.8, declined by 12%. So in 2018, the total net profit earned by the company is around 2.1 billion. In 2019, it is 1.8 billion, which is 300 million decrease straight away, which is 12%. Cognizant is definitely not doing well, that is for sure. And if this trend would, and why Cognizant? None of the IT companies doing well. Because IT companies expanded too fast. They have a huge facility cost on their head. Just like if you talk about Infosys, they have a huge facility, Wipro, SCL, although almost everybody having a huge facility. I really don't think that IT companies would be able to hold these facilities for longer when the world is talking about cloud computing, big data analytics, hyper logic, deep tech, and all these things. And the demise of the Cognizant would be very tragic, and we should not forget that it is Cognizant in India who officially started firing people officially, and that too from the top level. So it's pretty sad. So IT sector is definitely not going well, and I don't know till what extent you're watching the results, but this quarter results by IT companies, the revenues are muted. Some companies increased the profitability, but that profitability increase was limited. And more importantly, next quarter revenue struggle and net profit struggle might be there. That's it. So this is about IT. Let's come to the performance of the Indian government, which is always a cause of concern for most of the people and including me. You know that I don't want to talk about the budget. I already expressed my thoughts about the budget in an alternate video. But two things which I wanted to say. Number one, the deficit financing will definitely happen by Reserve Bank of India, because Reserve Bank of India left with no source except deficit financing, and I don't have figures till what extent deficit financing would happen, but the deficit financing would be pretty high, maybe more than my estimate. I don't have figures right now. I am collating the figures. You know, I always speak with figures. Once I have the data, we'll definitely make a video separate. I wanted to make a separate video about the deficit financing, but having said that, you know, deficit financing would surely happen, that's for sure. Alternatively, one bad thing for India, which I'm sure that nobody will speak, number one, that foreign institutional investors cut stake in almost all private bank in the second quarter of 2020. So foreign institutional investors have trimmed their holding in 12 private banks in the September quarter amid concern over a buildup of the stress. Example, they cut their stake by 20% in RBL, around 30, this is in crores, change in bips, okay. Around 20 bips in RBL, 37 bips in Kotak Mahindra, 43 bips in DCB, 80 bips in SDFC, around 1.17% in ICICI, around 1.33% in City Union Bank, around 1.67 Karnataka Bank, and 2.46, which is roughly 2.5% in Federal Bank, at around 4.2% in Lakshmi Vilas Bank. And we should not forget that Lakshmi Vilas Bank is currently on sale, and one person and DBS is a leading bidder for that. And I know that Piyush Gupta will definitely bid for that, because Piyush Gupta never expanded to US, he never expanded to Europe. DBS India is also in loss. If Piyush Gupta will go ahead for Lakshmi Vilas Bank, it would be another big mistake. But Piyush Gupta is not worried, because he knows it is the money of government of Singapore. Why he should be worried? So ultimately the money which they would be paying for acquiring of LVP, it would be Singapore government money. It is not his money, so he is not bothered much. So about Indian part, I am definitely very skeptical. Indian economy is running from a very bad phase, and these are structural issues. I see that Indian economy will collapse in another 2 to 3 years. Fiscal deficit might cross 4.5%, although Indian government is facing trust deficit, which means that no one trusts you. And I feel that probably another 2 years down the line, the situation will go out of control from Reserve Bank of India. So situation will be out of hand of Reserve Bank of India, and importantly, I don't think there is any tool RBI left with. RBI can manage that. But still, let's see how the scene would end up. Since 2016, when insolvency and bankruptcy court came into the public domain, I coming into the public domain and told a lot of times that insolvency and bankruptcy court is a waste. It seriously is a waste. But no one ever thought. Now let's give you a number. In a quarter 1 2017, 37 case admitted, and this is CIRP by the way, Corporate Insolvency Resolution Process. In quarter 1 2017, 37 cases admitted, resolution 0. Quarter 2, 129 case admitted, resolution 0. Quarter 3, 233 cases admitted, resolution 2. Quarter 4, 147 cases admitted, resolution 7. And slowly, third quarter 2019, when 369 cases admitted, resolution 27. Now if I add, the total cases which admitted is 2542. 2542. Out of 2542, the resolution plan is approved only in case of 156, which is less than 10%. By the way, so in less than 10% of the cases, in fact less than 7%, in less than 7% cases the resolution plan approved. And out of these all, liquidation commencement started in case of 587, which means around 20%. So even if I assume that liquidation commencement will work, so 20 plus 7, 27, it means that out of 100, 27 cases are more or less resolved, 73 cases are still pending, which means 73% of the cases are still pending. This is Corporate Insolvency Resolution Professional. Am I clear? The moral story came here is that around, out of this 587, which is commencement of liquidation, there is no information which we have till what extent they would be liquidated, who is liquidating, and as and when they will get liquidated. And guys, except SR Steel, which is being acquired by Mittals, not a single success story we have in case of insolvency bankruptcy court even after 3 years into existence. And that is also a reality. But people don't want you to hear that. They feel offended. Our courts are jamming up again and again. Cases come. Every day one company step down, and another 2 to 3 years startups will end up filing for bankruptcy. Courts have limited bandwidth, they have limited judges, limited infrastructure, cases over cases are coming, and you yourself see that out of 2500 plus cases, only 27% of that cases more or less resolved, rest 73% is pending. And this keeps accumulating. And this is the last, by the way, this is 2 years data. But insolvency and bankruptcy code into the picture from 2016. So 2016 data is not here, so I don't know. So IBC is doing a wonderful job, and I'm sure. Now let me give you some hint. In case of electro steel, the amount admitted for jurisdiction before jurisdiction is around 13,000 crores. The realized is only 5,300, which means 40%. In case of Bhushan Steel, the realized is only 63.5. In case of Moneth Ispat, it is only 26%. In case of SR Steel, in case of 60, which I talked about Mittals, right? In case of Alok Industry, it is 17%. In case of Jyoti Structures, in case of just 50%. In case of Bhushan Steel, it is around 41%. You can clearly see that in majority of the cases, the realization which is happening is less than 30%. And that too after deep fighting in the courts. This is the success of our NCLT, NCLAT and the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code. I know many people don't like that, doesn't matter. Let's talk another person without whom the discussion cannot closed or initiate. So first we got an article that SEBI embraces new age tools to prevent market manipulation. No doubt that security regulators around the world are putting in huge effort to prevent the flow of such information as well as to punish the making illicit gains using these insights. But it is not easy as it may sound in the era when WhatsApp, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, Telegram have almost become primary medium of communication. Given this, Indian market regulator Security and Exchange Board of India is going all out to embrace new age tools and technologies to analyze large scale data and prevent market manipulation such as insider trading. SEBI has drawn up a 4-year roadmap for beefing up of its technology prowess with around 500 crore budget. And I will give you in writing, majority of this budget will get in the hands of Big Fours, EY, PwC, KPMG and Deloitte. Not a single chartered accountant firm will get 1 rupee out of this 500 crores. The Big Fours come, you know how Big Fours deal with government officers, and whole budget will go in the hands of Big Fours, I am telling you. That is good that SEBI is coming up with such kind of initiative, but what about this gentleman? Is SEBI a blind? Is SEBI a Yudhishthir of Maharashtra, of Mahabharata? Ravneet Gill, how can you ignore him? Ravneet Gill, boss, from the last 2 years, there is not a single truth he said. In fact, if today Ravneet Gill will ask his wife that I wanted to take you for a dinner, his wife will say you are lying. I am 200% sure. Even his wife would lost a trust on his words. In fact, I have not seen a liar like Ravneet Gill. Every statement he said is a false. Not a single statement he said in the last 2 years or 1.5 years which turned true actually for Yes Bank. And how can I forget that the day Rana Kapoor sold his last bunch of shares, from that day till today, Rana Kapoor is out of action. Our media is very smart, boss. Rana Kapoor and Chanda Kochhar, they are literally out of action. In fact, Shikha Sharma, the 3 innovative bankers of India, Rana Kapoor, Chanda Kochhar and Shikha Sharma, they are practically out of action. Media do not cover them because media do not want people to know that what's happening with the Vodafone Videocon 3500 case with ICICI where Chanda Kochhar landed and his husband got the major benefit. Media do not want you to know that Rana Kapoor is enjoying outside India and enjoying his vacation on a money which is actually a public deposit. And media do not want you to let you know that Shikha Sharma, who considered to be the most respected lady in the Indian banking system, is actually a fraud. So what media actually did in collaboration with these people is to make sure that they not come in public domain, and once they do not come in public domain, people memory are small, they will forget. Simple. And eventually people forget Rana Kapoor, and Rana Kapoor one day will shift to London, and then from here he will give us Gyan. But anyways, let's listen this. Yes Bank invited a gentleman who left Doche 2 3 years before, which is I think Anshu Jain. Do you know Anshu Jain? Anshu Jain once upon a time used to claimed as either left or right hand of the German government. Either left or right hand of the German government, I don't know which hand. But this was the situation of Anshu Jain. Today he hired Anshu Jain only and plus two another firm to make sure that they would be able to get $2 billion. I give you in writing if even Anshu Jain can arrange $2 billion. Yes Bank is a bunch of frauds. No one will invest. But there is only one person who can invest, and that is the SoftBank CEO. The biggest mistake Ravneet Gill did today, he should have contacted SoftBank CEO, because he is the only person who can invest in a loss-making company. Else, how many of you are reading, you will definitely not invest in Paytm, Ola, Uber, Swiggy, Zomato and all these companies. But he did. So, I think he should contact SoftBank. But the problem starts from here. Former Yes Bank independent director Uttam Prakash Agarwal has demanded appropriate action against the lender CEO and MD Ravneet Gill for allegedly violating various regulatory norms. Agarwal, who was an independent director in 2018, resigned from the board of Yes Bank last month, citing deteriorating standard of corporate governance at the private sector lender. In a letter to Reserve Bank of India Governor, Agarwal alleged breach of governance, non-compliance, undue influence and control of the majority member of the board by Gill through quid pro quo. A letter also submitted there has been substantial erosion in the market cap of around 40,000 crores since Gill took over. But did SEBI take any action? But SEBI will get this tool, but do not take action here. Maybe after these tools will come, SEBI will get to know Ravneet Gill lost 40,000 crore of market cap. Tools. The market cap of the bank was around 55,000 crore on the 1st March 2019, and today it is around 11,000 crore, which he rightly pointed lost by around 44,000 crores. A bank who lost 44,000 crores of market cap, but Rana Kapoor not even being invited by any enforcement agency, Central Bureau of Investigation, Enforcement Directorate, Delhi Police, any other economic offence wing unit, or any other regulatory body, which is Security and Exchange Board of India, Reserve Bank of India, or any other body, that how come the market cap of the bank, which was reduced, which was around 55,000 crores, and that is not 100 years before. On 1st March, it was 55,000 crore, and today, around less than 1 year, it is 11,000 crores. This 44,000 crore is lost by the investor. It is not the father, or it is not the money of the father of Rana Kapoor, neither the Ravneet Gill, if you both are listening, right? But I know that regulators, you already have, I hope you got what I wanted to say. That is a reason Rana Kapoor is untouched, and that is the reason why Ravneet Gill is untouched. So this country always speaks about independent directors, the regulation of independent directors, what independent directors should do, frauds and all. But here, one independent director who quitted from the board, and he writing an email to the RBI governor. If I would be holding a press, I would have printed this letter on the front page, that an independent director of a bank is writing a letter to the RBI governor that take an action. But did any one of us even have a copy of that letter? We do not, because our WhatsApps and everything is being fed up by jokes. Deepika Padukone, Shah Rukh Khan, Virat Kohli and all these. We literally not bothered about these things, and by the way, we also not shoot this video for masses, we shoot for classes. So we not bothered how many likes and views we will get. We are doing our moral responsibility. And by the way, Ravneet Gill is not the only exception. Axis Bank, ICICI Bank, almost every bank. Deepak Parekh. Deepak Parekh is a bloody big fraud, and that fraud happened to me. But I would have a separate video on that. Deepak Parekh is the number one fraud we have in India. Ravneet Gill, Rana Kapoor stands neither at left nor at the right of that versus Deepak Parekh. But HDFC share prices are growing. You know, it is the eighth wonder of the globe when GDP is falling, inflation is rising, unemployment is rising, government is facing trust deficit. You know, India is losing the foreign partner one by one. We have trade war, India, US, China, India also impacting, Singapore also impacted a lot. Now Chinese virus, and there are many negative news. Irrespective of all this, Indian stock market is going up. Except Einstein, no one can conclude why. And the budget our finance minister, the Madam Nirmala Sitharaman presented, I don't even rate 2 out of 10. It has nothing financial technologies, innovation about banks, bank modernization, IT architecture, for budget for reinforcement and all these. This budget is holding nothing. It's only populist budget, and then God knows till what extent these populist things will come into the public domain or come on the ground. Now, how can we conclude the talk without this gentleman? Few years before, no foreign bank of the globe want to lend him a $1, and today every second day he is getting money from one or another. I think 2020 is a wonderful year for two corporates. One is Ambani and one is Adani. Ambani, because Ambani is ready for e-commerce, his Jio is doing very well, although I always never trust on the numbers as far as the financial statements of Ambani is concerned, but my trust do not matter, because you know the Ministry of Corporate Affairs always trust. This person is raising a huge debt. Let me answer this. Adani Transmission has shown a strong performance over 2019 with the milestone that included successful letter of intent to build, operate and transfer in Gujarat, Rajasthan, Maharashtra. Nowhere outside India, only in India, and you know why. Qatar Investment, with a recent partnership with Qatar Investment Authority in a significant step to stimulate growth. The latest offshore debt fundraising by the Adani Group company follow in the footstep of more than $2.76 billion funding through bonds in 2019. Last July, Adani Port and Special Economic Zone raised $650 million to buy back bond of similar maturity 2020, which means to pay off another debt, you take another debt. While in June, it had raised $750 million separate bond sale. Adani Energy Limited raised $500 million in May, followed by another bond of $362 million in October. Adani Transmission too raised $500 million last November. Last year, the transmission and the distribution business sold a minority stake in the Mumbai electricity to Qatar Investment, from where it generated $450 million. So if I add in less than 1 year of time, Adani Group raised around $5.3 billion. Existing debt is separate. But unfortunately, these companies are taking too much debt, which is adding to the liability of India and also the adding or liability of the Reserve Bank of India, and which is hitting the USD INR exchange rate. But media cannot talk on these issues. How can you talk? Like in few years before, no one wanted to lend you a single dollar. What had happened in this last few years that everyone is lending you the money? You are getting ports, you are getting airports, you are getting everything. So, by the way, 2020 would definitely be good for Adani and Ambani, but not be good for Amazon and Vodafone. Because biggest mistake Vodafone did in India is that they provided jobs, they provided infrastructure, and they fulfilled their responsibility of acting as a multinational company. So Vodafone should pay the price of this. The biggest mistake of Mr. Jeff Bezos is that he provided the infrastructure, he provided Amazon, he provided people the ability to buy something using online. So Competition Commission of India is having a legal duty to prosecute Amazon. Because when Jio entered into the market and they gave everything free for a very extended period of time, it is not anti-competitive. Definitely not. It is not anti-competitive. But when Amazon is giving a discounting on a product, this is anti-competitive. Because Jio is not anti-competitive, Amazon is anti-competitive. Maybe tomorrow if Walmart would also be anti-competitive, God knows. Because just imagine if Walmart and Amazon will quit India for a minute, then who will control the e-commerce market? And this business is more profitable than the petroleum business. That's how. But don't worry, our media don't talk because media is busy in CAA, NRC, and Hindu Muslim, and all these things. The target which is given to media is to make people busy in these things and let everything aside. Now, when the Diwali comes in India, the politicians start speaking that boycott the Chinese product. Do not buy Chinese product. They are distorting our economy, and all these things. And some people even link this with Congress. Some link this with Nehru and all whatnot. Can I ask one reason? When General Motors was winding up its last plant in Maharashtra, then why the regulators approved only Chinese company to bought that? Today is 8th February, the second day of Auto Expo in New Delhi. 33% of the space in the Auto Expo is occupied only by Chinese companies. 33%. Big players like BMW and rest are giving him a miss. This is the first Auto Expo when the big players are not coming and they are giving it a miss. 33% space is occupied by Chinese company, and here is that. Listen this. Top Chinese car maker SAIC Motor, Great Wall and Hamima Automobile made their debut at an Auto Expo on Wednesday. Right? Signaling plans to move in aggressively into the world's fourth largest auto market. China is number one. Incumbent Tata Motors, Mahindra & Mahindra and Hyundai Motors have also geared up for the challenge by announcing several new vehicles. MG Motors India Private Limited, a unit of SAIC, plans to roll out at least half a dozen new vehicles through 2025, including this, that and all. Now let me read this. Meanwhile, Great Wall Motors China, the largest SUV maker, unveiled its Howell brand entity and concept vision, and they wanted to invest around 7,000 crore in a phased manner in Indian operations. And all these details are there. Do I need to tell you that Indian automobile industry is facing a deep slump? Did you got a time to watch the latest results of Bosch, who is the leading provider of high quality automobile parts in India and outside India? Do you get to know that Bosch is cutting around 2,000 plus jobs only because they don't have a demand? Pune, which was once known as an ancillary hub for auto, whereby every second engineer every second student who was doing some or another form of engineering wanted to join an auto company is now nothing, it look like a mortuary. And in fact, why Pune? If you go to Gurgaon or if you go just Manesar, which where we have the plant of Maruti, it's all silence there. Indian Larsen and Toubro, Mahindra and Mahindra, almost every car maker reported a decline in the car sales, and this is not the first time. From the last 2+ years, they are facing that decline. Now, if Chinese player will come in Indian market, and we know that the quality of the Chinese player are very good, you appreciate or don't appreciate, that is not my, definitely not my problem. If Chinese player come in the market and they started offer a product which is better than Indian companies, then whatever Indian companies selling right now, like Ashok Leyland, Maruti and all, they are gone in less than 2 years. In less than 2 years, these companies will wind up one by one. But we are not worried about that. And by the way, I am not anti-competitive, to be honest. This was our presentation about the Indian outlook, basically India Stories Part 2. We feel that nothing is going good for Indian economy, whether it is a startup, huge losses, venture capitalist funding declining. Two corporates, Ambani and Adani, are growing at a much faster pace, and God knows they might control multiple entities in near future. Insolvency and bankruptcy code is a big failure. Yes Bank made our system a joke, literally a joke. Rana Kapoor, Chanda Kochar, Shikha Sharma, they make our system a joke. On paper, Security and Exchange Board of India wanted to upgrade himself by spending 500 crore, but they do not know that a bank whose market cap was as 55,000 crore on 1st March 2019, in less than 1 year it is 11,000 crores. People like Ramneet Gill, who speak lie almost every second day in the media, rather than criticizing these person, our media make them hero. To cut the long discussion short, we are living in a system, whether I live in Singapore or not, that's a different thing. We are living in a system when system is completely paid or made in such a way that whatever you do, even after shooting this video, it doesn't make much difference in the system. Few people like it, few don't, but it doesn't make a difference. We do our responsibility. Our system is made in such a way that whatever you do, or whatever these people want, it would happen. So if tomorrow one corporate want Mr. Amazon, Mr. Jeff Bezos and Walmart to step down, government makes sure that they step down. If tomorrow one corporate want Vodafone to shut down, government will do everything to make Vodafone shut down. Hook or crook, whatever. We are living in an era when we are we cannot run from the fact that we are jobless people, because our system wants us to be jobless. This is what our view about Indian economy, and I think mess has just started. A lot of mess on the cards. To conclude this discussion, my beautiful movie Titanic. It is said that Titanic struck around 11:50 in the night, as for movie, and by 12 past 2 it got sunk into the sea. If I assume Titanic is Indian economy and 12 past 2 is the time when Titanic got sunk, then the current time in India is around 1:30 am. That is. So we are more than 1 hour and 30 minutes after the crash. And the final day or the D-Day is not very far. Rather, final movement is not very far. With this, we thank you very much. You know my mobile number, which is +91 9899242978. You know our fixed income platform, www.fixedincome.global. My both mobile numbers are in public domain, which is +91 9899242978. Second number 9818485155. We thank you very much, and we, as promised, every month once we will shoot this video. This was all about January. See you again in March when we speak about February. But I don't think that any credible change will happen in February. Rather, the information would be more messy. Have a good time and talk soon.